Yes, 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 yes. We are talking riveting stuff. We're talking the Varsity Cup final. Long past now, my apologies for rolling in a little late. But my goodness, wasn't that a game to behold? What a final to culminate a tournament that scintillated from beginning to end. Loved every second of this year's Varsity Cup, as I do every year. It's competition that has the spirit of rugby living inside of it every year, and teams that demand the very best, fans that demand the very best, and the very best was provided yet again in 2024. The Shimlers, if you didn't know, coming out victorious in a match featuring 87 points and separating the teams just the three. In the end, 45 points to 42, Shimlers won on home turf, only the second final that they have ever contested, and they've got a 100% record when they reach the final. Not such a good record in the semi-finals. I think they've been to 8 and they've won 2 of them now, but 100% record in the final. They've hosted both of the finals they've been in. The last time they won back in 2015, so really such an achievement for the team from Bloemfontein. You got to celebrate them. Andre Tredu rising to the top. Such an emotional coach as well this season. It's been a roller coaster, not just this season, but since he's come in from Madiba's, where the struggle is real, and they were striving to make it back into the Varsity Cup. Didn't make it this season because Turks are returning. We'll get to that in a second. But let's focus on the Shimlers for the time being, who really entertained throughout the season and didn't hold back in the final either. They were brilliant. And their style of rugby finally proving to be effective in the playoff stages, as it has been over these last few seasons in the pool stage. But when it comes to the crunch, they have, tripped over their own feet, so to speak, a couple of times. Running that ball in the rain in Bloemfontein a couple of years ago, a lot of handling errors, cost themselves in a semi-final. UCT Ike Tigers in the semi-final last season came and scored 65 points, I think, against them in the semi-final. Heartbreaking stuff as UCT went to the final and got their hearts broken. And once again, of course, UCT have come to yet another final with Tom Dawson's squib and come up just short, and it really is tough to watch. Such a good team over the course of a couple of years as well. The likes of Warji leading them, the likes of Reta Bilelo, who came in late in the season again and made such a difference to the side. And, of course, Duran Kuvort at the back. And Kroos, wow, what a player he's been for this team as well. It's been incredible. And Tokoza Makaza scoring 100 points plus in 2 seasons and becoming the highest point scorer in the history of the competition. So many achievements, so many players that have graduated and gone into great things, like Gary Porter, who's, a bona fide stormer now as well. It really is tremendous stuff. And, Assad Morse is with the under-20s in Australia now, in the inaugural under-20 rugby championship, where things have gone slightly off track for the Baby Boks, but not by much. Drew the first match and lost the second match narrowly, really, in the end, letting things slip away and even almost staged their sneaky comeback. Have one match to go, so this is all preparation, of course, for the World Under-20 Championships, which is happening in South Africa for the second consecutive year, coming up in a few months' time. So, most importantly, guys need to get in shape and make sure that we are more competitive at this competition. Although the Baby Boks did well last time around, really improving match to match, and that's the thing, coming into the tournament with more experience, more cohesion in the squad. We'll see what effect that has, because the European teams are very strong. Of course, they have their Six Nations every year, and the French side was a cut above, many cuts above last time around. So, anyway, drifting away from the match in focus here, which was the Varsity Cup final. So, At the beginning of the match, the Ike Tigers came out firing, all guns blazing, and they really were entertaining. They looked like they were taking the game by the scruff of the neck. But all the while, Shimlers were absorbing the pressure, and you knew once they started their train rolling down the tracks, it was going to be difficult for any side in this cup to stop them, and so it proved. And it's always a question of if those passes stick, if the grubbers bounce the right way, if the cross kicks fall into the arms, if they can make that inside pass go. And, oh man, it was happening for the Shimlers in this final. And the fans packed out the stands, and they were deep in it every second. They made it the occasion that it was. And what an occasion it turned out to be. Just an enthralling final, a privilege to be involved in it. So UCT shot into the lead, tries from Blankenberg and Roche. The centre partnership of Roche and Bull has been devastating for UCT this season, really given that go forward, and they've got that class as well. And, the patience to work backline moves or to just give it the grunt that it needs to get the ball over the line. They can play in different ways, UCT. It's what made them so successful in this tournament. And never mind everything else behind the scenes, just a quasi-professional outfit they've got going on there under Tom Dawson's squib. It's just falling so narrowly short, but putting in a great performance, especially so in those opening stages. So then Shimlers hitting back with Liam Mguigui, who scored 2 tries in the match. He had a great game, but the player that rocks in the match was Jean Draynel, the number 9 for the Shimlers, who lit up the stage. What a match he had. Wore the scars of battle on his face afterwards, still smiling all the way through it. Ready for the celebration, which was to come. He was brilliant, had the spark that the Shimlers needed, and that constant positivity, the never-ending positivity that in spite of the points being scored against them, they always know that they've got tries in them. And players like that, in combination with Ethan Wenzel, their fly half, who must have been borderline player of the tournament, he has been brilliant from beginning to end. What's going on out here? What is happening with the speech? From beginning to end, really, really quality player. Has a cool head on his shoulders in those times of heat and times of escalation that the Shimlers tend to bring to a match. He knows when to up the tempo, when to slow it down, and has a steady pair of hands as well. And his boot is highly accurate. And, it's got some punch to it as well. Well, don't know if that's a pun or not. Punch to his boot, but really gets some distance on his kicks when he needs to. Cross kicks are waxed. He's got the ability to get the backline going as well, in combination with the rest of his backline who can step in and, provide the impetus themselves. They were without that high impact inside center who got injured in the match before, and said Joostenel, man, he's quality number 12. So they had to make a little bit of a shift, and Bester came into the number 12 position, which took away from his effectiveness in the outside spaces where he could really test the legs. Really got that kind of 7 style to him, just thrashing style of play. And he wasn't able to run free. So, as a result, the ball was getting out wide. And in the end, another try for the free running and free scoring. Zondani scored yet another try this season. I think it was 6 in the season. Pierre Ace, the captain of the Shimlers, a leader par excellence, really dragging his team forward every single match, every single step of the way. Smile on his face, such a strong engine as well. The bomb squad coming off the bench for the Shimlers really might have been the difference between the sides. UCT missing Enos and Diao, who ended up being the forward rocks of the tournament. And that was a big miss. Big miss for UCT on that day. And Diao maybe not having as big of a season as he had last time around, but still such a crucial player because it left so much of the grunt work to Kroos, who has been unbelievably effective these last 2 seasons for the UCT Ike Tigers. He has been the nuisance force that sometimes this Ike Tigers pack needs to compete with some of the powerful individuals that come up against, especially when they're coming up against the Eagles and Shimlers, Monties even, depending on which side has the crazy pack. But the nous of guys like Kraus, still got it. The nous of individuals like Kraus and his work at the lineouts, especially, which was so disruptive to the Eagles. He was at the heart and soul of them upsetting the odds in that semi-final, and they came so close to pulling off a miracle here again. And it wasn't looking like a miracle early on. Makaza looking class from the beginning of the match, missed a crucial kick late on, which would have put UCT's noses in front, but oh man, heartbreak for the guy that was the player that rocks in the end, overall player that rocks of the tournament. No surprise there, rising to the top of the all-time point scoring in the tournament. He's got designs on becoming a Stormer himself, says he loves the way they play. And man, it would be really, really interesting to see him unleashing on the next level. And the next level surely is going to be available to him very soon. What a talent. Retabile, though, once again showing his cerebral assassin styles. What a brilliant wing he is. So much nous. And he got an interception which led to a try, and another interception which created a try. Duran Kuvot scoring a try as well. Brian LaRue scoring a try, which brought the match almost into the hands, into the clutches, into the claws of the Yaiki Tigers. But they let it slip away again. Genre Stopforth for the Shimlers. Brilliant player. Dominant at line-out time. Dominant in open play. Such good conditioning for all of these Shimlers players. And then the likes of Volskank coming off of the bench. And Henry van Heerden as well, who scored that runaway try earlier in the season. I think it was against the Eagles to snatch victory right at the death. Really irresistible tempo that they bring off the bench. And you can understand how teams struggle to handle Ningiza. Man, that guy's got a bright future as well. So, Shimlers victorious, 45 points to 42. A final, the likes of which, I mean, you want to say you'll probably never see again, but this is the Varsity Cup after all. So, yeah, you never know what you're going to see next. A penalty right at the death, points to win the match coming from the boot of Ethan Wenzel. What a season. Likona Fintra ended up winning the rookie that rocks of the tournament for UJ, who fell just short so many times. Wits always coming just short of the prize as well, just when they look like they're going to have a season to remember. They were top of the log for a while, Wits. Then they end up falling short of the prize. UJ also not doing themselves any justice early in the season, losing too many matches by narrow margins. Now they've got to keep their squad together. What's the season going to look like next time around? CUT staying up after winning the promotion relegation match that they played against the Madibas, who will remain down in the Varsity Shield. Rising up from the Varsity Shield, none other than the Stripe Generation Turks, who scored 15 tries in the final, something like that. It's been a festival of rugby down there for Tuks, who got relegated in dramatic fashion last season, but they'll be coming right back up to the Varsity Cup. UWs heading back to the Varsity Shield, which is going to be a tremendous competition in the season to come. No doubt about that. Keep your eyes on the Varsity Shield. Such balance between the sides now. And the arrival of Varsity College has just added something else to the brew, which is going to frustrate the likes of Madibas, who have been trying to build to get back into the Varsity Cup for some time. And really would be great to have some representation from the Eastern Cape up in the Varsity Cup at the highest level consistently to break in and remain like the way that Wits have, like the way that CUT have over time, to become a consistent Varsity Cup side, to be able to have that continuity that is able to attract the level of players that you need to create the depth to compete on a consistent basis at the Varsity Cup level. It really is becoming something that you can't just do footloose and fancy free. You know, you got to have that machine churning out every year, making sure that you stay right up there. Because if you're not moving forward, man, you're moving backwards real fast. So, another season in the bag. Loved every single moment of it. Can't wait to see next season. Looking forward to moving on to the other competitions which are available in this nation. SA Cup still going on. Currie Cup coming up this season. Love the Currie Cup. Such an important competition. And so entertaining every year. Provides yet another opportunity for those players that may have fallen through the cracks to announce themselves, to make their careers happen, you know. The likes of Devin Williams, who's now a consistent Bulls player. Sebastian de Klerk as well, who came from the Pumas all those successful years. For the Engelbrecht Currie Cup winning captain with the Pumas, now a solid Stormer, plays for them so often. It's just provides opportunities for players to explode back onto the scene. Siamasuku starting for the Sharks, having the opportunity to play with the Cheetahs consistently, showing what he could do at the Currie Cup level and at the EPCR Challenge Cup level, and now getting his opportunity in the big time. And, what will next season hold? Will he get his opportunity again with the Sharks now that he's proven what he can do with the Chamberlain moving? It's going to be an interesting one. So, who also are going to be playing in these teams in the Currie Cup? A little bit of contention over the amount of rest that the players need to get over the course of the season. That all remains to be seen. Anyway, let's leave it there right now. The Varsity Cup final was an absolute delight. Just such a pleasure to be involved. Bloemfontein was absolutely pumping that evening, there in the stadium, there in the streets. It's a beautiful place to be, Bloemfontein. Great town to go to. Had so much fun. Can't wait to be part of the Varsity Cup next season again, if I'm so privileged as to be involved once more. It's so great to be there at the stadiums. If you ever have the chance to go and enjoy some Varsity Cup, do it. Do get in there, especially when you know it's going to be a big derby night or any time at all. It's a great place to be. So, be back for the Varsity Cup next season. Going to be looking at the Currie Cup coming up. Going to be looking at some of the SA Cup and everything else that's going on. Of course, the Vodacom URC is coming to a culmination. There'll be plenty of that to speak about because everything is coming together now. The final few matches of the pool stage, so much to play for with the Stormers going on tour with everything on the line. Really narrowly holding on to the knockout spots if you look at the log and see how many teams could actually catch up to them if they don't get a success or two while they're over there in Europe. And the Bulls trying to get into the top 2 spots possibly really cost themselves with that match against Munster when Munster arrived. But jeepers, Munster are the champions for a reason. Leinster going back home, having lost those matches in South Africa, but propelling themselves into the final of the Champions Cup. So the plan kind of working out. It's a real chess match to get everything to cover all the matches that you need to. Jake White taking a lot of flack for the team that he sent for the Champions Cup match, but, Leinster doing a very similar thing, and it's just a question of whether you pull off that victory that you're looking for when you have your players that stay back and try to get a win in the other matches as well. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. So, always there's going to be plenty to talk about in the URC, which is competition that is getting richer and richer each year as all the sides figure out how to play this competition in the most effective way and to get themselves into a position at the end of the season when you can make that push for the top. Like the Glasgow Warriors are sitting on the top of the log at the moment, and Leinster will be licking their lips for that. The Bulls will be licking their lips for them, and the Stormers will be knowing that they need to get the job done. The Lions need to get their wins, and the Sharks have the opportunity to bring the Lions back into contention as well with the matches they're playing. This is the kind of spice that the URC can offer. Cannot wait to get involved in the rest of these tournaments. The rugby season is heating up, or is it slowing down? When does it stop? When does it start? The Springboks coming back soon. That's going to be another exciting thing to keep an eye on, a very close eye on. So just as the season is ending, the season is beginning. It's a whole new world of rugby, which used to be compartmentalized in the winter season. Didn't it just? But now it never ends, and it's a great thing. Always another tournament to excite, and the World Under-20 Championships also coming back. WXV2, the women are going to be in action in South Africa again. What an opportunity for our team to continue to grow. Our 7-a-side ladies pulling off great things as that project continues to grow as well. Women's rugby in South Africa is on the rise, and the Women's Currie Cup underway as well. Some great highlights coming out of those matches. So, Varsity Cup final in the bag. Congratulations to the Shimlers. What a night. What a night indeed. The fireworks were up in the air, and the UCT Ike Tigers leaving with their tails between their legs yet again. But their time will come once more. They always compete. They always find a way to turn it around. And every team in the tournament will be thinking the same thing as well. Shimlers wanting to go back-to-back. Eagles wanting to rise again. Everybody always feels like they're jilted, like they almost made it. A couple of things, if they had changed, if it had gone their way. And that's always the case. It's what makes this competition so exciting every year. And it'll be back next year. But I will be back next week.